Joy of My Life, originally written by John Fogerty, but made way better by Chris Stapleton. Let's get into it. All right, Joy of My Life is recorded in the key of B flat. We are going to be playing G-shaped chords, G's and C's, because of this capo on fret 3. So if you want to play along, get a capo, fret 3. And there's not too many parts to learn. There's really only an instrumental, a verse, and a chorus. So this should be a quick and easy tutorial for you. All right, the intro starts on an F chord. There will be a little diagram down in the bottom corner to show you what that is. But basically, you want to use your thumb, wrap it around, and mute the E string. You don't want to hear that. And you want to mute the A string with your ring finger, kind of this top part of your ring finger. You don't want to hear that A string either. Now your ring finger is going to be on the 3rd fret of the D string, your middle finger on the 2nd fret of the G string, your first finger on the 1st fret of the the only B string, and then the E string is actually going to stay open. So this is not a true F chord, but it's close enough that we'll make it work. It's kind of a modified one. This is what the chord sounds like. So again, that low E is muted, and that A is muted by the tip of my ring finger. There's that chord. So it starts off like this. That little hammer on with your middle finger, so it starts on an open G, hammer on to fret 2. That right there is your pinky finger, kind of pushing on fret 3 and then pulling off. One more time, slow. So you want to leave it open to start, push it down, and then pull off. The second chord is a C, so all we're going to do is move our ring finger over a string and our middle finger over a string. Again, you can see in the diagram what that looks like, but this chord is basically the same pattern, same shape as the F chord. We're going to start open and hammer on with our middle finger. Same exact pattern. All we did was move our 2 fingers just up a string. So the intro starts like this. Then we get into what is definitely the identifying riff of the song, and it's on a G chord. I will play it for you, and then we will kind of talk through how to actually do it. So he goes... That chord is a G chord. A lot of times when I am playing this, and even when I'm trying to listen to the song, I don't hear this high E string pressed down on fret 3, but that is true to the chord. So just in case you kind of strum the whole chord, I like to keep that finger there as often as I remember, just so it's not an open E sound. The chord you'll see in the bottom, it is fret 3 with your middle finger or your ring finger. A lot of times I'll switch back and forth. We're going to mute the A string with the back kind of meaty part of whatever finger you end up using, so you don't hear that A. True G chord would have it on fret 2, but we don't want to hear that. Open D, open G, open B, and then again that pinky finger on fret 3. Then we get into some intricate picking, slides, pull-offs, all sorts of cool stuff. So the chord goes 1 strum down, and then that is on the D string, open, 2, and then open on the G string. So that's the first part. Full strum. Then we're going to go up to for a slide from fret 2 on the G string up to fret 4. Again, this is all relative to the capo. So just those picking parts. So you just want to pick it on the 2 and then use your finger to slide. You don't want to pick it again on the 4, just slide. Then on the B string, we are going to play the 3rd fret. So that riff so far is... So I use my first finger on that B string, fret 3. Then we are going to pluck again fret 4 on the G string and slide down. You only want to hear that first one and slide down. So far, here's what we've got. One more time slowly. So that G chord in the intro is... From there, we want to pull off from fret 2 of the G string to open. So we go... One more time, so we've got... And then at the very end, we do another quick pull off on the D string from fret 2 to pull off open. That whole, still not done with the riff yet, but that whole part so far goes like this. One more time. Don't worry if you don't get it right now. Just keep practicing that slowly over and over and over again. Here's what we've got so far in the intro. There's one more part we have to learn, but here's where we've been. That's the F chord to a C, to the G. Now, after that last pull off on the D string, we want to strum the G chord one time, and then we are going to do another hammer on the D string with our middle finger. So 0 to 2, and then strum kind of the higher part of the chord 2 times. So that new part we're learned is, doesn't really matter how many you strum. In fact, the more comfortable you get with this, the more I kind of just leave strings open and strumming. This song actually has 2 different acoustic guitars playing at the same time. So the more you can leave the correct strings open as you're kind of strumming those parts, the more full it will sound if you are playing this alone. But again, that new part is... The last part of the riff we have to learn is 2 more pull-offs. Starting on the D string, 2 to open, then to the G string, 2 to open. So that part goes 2, open, 2, open, and then another little half strum in there just for fun. Let's go ahead and play through that entire G chord progression. I will play it slowly. I will play just those notes one more time without kind of the rest of my hand in the way. I would suggest, if you are still not getting this, to slow down the YouTube video and really watch my fingers. That riff is all over this song, so do not move on until you kind of get that feel down, until you get those patterns. This is the whole intro. To the G. Then it just repeats it one more time. Again, the more comfortable you can get with that riff, just kind of individual strings, then the more you can learn to leave fret 3 on the low E string down to kind of carry where that second acoustic guitar would, or you can strum more of these open D, G, and B strings when they're there to fill out that chord. So by the time you get up to speed and actually playing it on your own, you don't miss that second acoustic as much. Again, this is the intro at speed. So the verse has mainly just a G chord and a C chord, but there's that tricky riff in there all the time as well. So this is how the verse goes. Do that with a little bit of singing in the background so we can get where the chord changes are. Tiptoed in the room, I know you got to have your rest. It's pretty much in there. That riff is there when he's not singing. So one more time slowly. I tiptoed in the room, I know you got to have your rest. She says, come lay beside me. I've been waiting since you left. A little bit of morning voice there. But that is basically the chords in the verse are just G and C back and forth. In fact, if you're just playing this by yourself, you don't even need to worry about those little riffs. If you don't feel comfortable, you can just tiptoe in the room. I know you got to have your rest. Maybe you want to play this for Valentine's Day. Just all right to do that until you get more comfortable. The chorus starts on a D chord, nothing fancy here. All we're gonna do is hammer on to fret 3 with our pinky finger. So a D chord is, you can play an open A if you want. We're gonna use our thumb to mute the low E string. Go ahead and call it an open A in there. Open D, 2, 3, 2. Again, you'll see the diagram, and all we're gonna do is kind of hammer on with our pinky finger on the high E string from 2 to 3. She's sweet to me. Just kind of a quick hammer on and pull off. She's sweet to me. To a C. Must be the luckiest man alive. Plays it again, D chord. Did I tell you, baby, you are the joy of my life. So, chorus is very easy. D, C, G with all the fun runs. Now, in verse 2 and verse 3, there are some walk-ups that Chris does, along with his whole band. So let's go ahead and go over those. The first one is in the second half of verse 2. He plays just kind of the G chord in the verse. Might not get to heaven, but I walked with the angels that day. So that right there is a G to a G over B. That is muting the low E string with your middle finger. Fret 2 on the A string. And then just, you can mute the D string, or if you want to leave it open is cool. Open G, open B, high E still. That's That's what that chord sounds like. Back to your C. And it happens on walked. So, might not get to heaven, but I walked with the angels that day. The second walk up that he does is in the very last verse. Some may have their riches. That walk up starts on the G chord still again. Some may have their riches. I just strum kind of an open A and D string to the G over B that we learned just a couple seconds ago, back to the C. So that A chord is really, theoretically speaking, an A minor, but it's so quick, I don't even worry about doing that. Just is good enough. So, some may have the riches, some may have the worldly things. After the second chorus, they go back and play the intro again. That's during a little guitar solo. And then at the very end of the song, the outro is just the intro 4 different times. The only difference in the outro is that in the studio recording, Chris doesn't continue to play that little G riff. It's just kind of strumming an open G. You can decide whether or not you want to do that. That's the whole song. Let's go ahead and do a playthrough. Starts on the F chord. C, G, back to F, tiptoed in the room. I know you got to have your rest. She says, come lay beside me. I've been waiting since you left. She's sweet to me, must be the luckiest man alive. Did I tell you, baby, you are the joy of my life? First time that I saw you, you took my breath away. Might not get to heaven, but I walked with the angels that day. She takes me by the hand. I am the luckiest man alive. Did I tell you, baby, you are the joy of my life? Back to the intro. One more time. Some may have their riches, some may have the worldly things. As long I'll treasure each and every day. Take me by the hand, I am the luckiest man alive. Did I tell you, baby, you are the joy of my life? Did I tell you, baby, you are the joy of my life? Outro, same as the intro, just does it 4 times. This is where you can just play the open G if you want. Or you can play the riff. Two more times. On the very last time, he just strums the G chord once. And that is Joy of My Life. Well, I hope that helped you learn how to play Joy of My Life, this slower, more serenadey, just all-around better version by Chris Stapleton. If you have questions or I did not explain something well enough, be sure and leave me something in the comments. I will try my best to respond to each and every comment and can help you walk through any parts maybe you didn't pick up. Also, if you have suggestions on future tutorials, be sure and let me know. I've got a whole list to work through already, but I certainly want to cover the ones that you want to learn as well. Just want to thank you for watching this video, and if you have not subscribed to the channel already, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit that button. See you next week.